President Gandam, thank you so much for sitting down with me and chatting about Alberta Municipalities' perspective when coming to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. From your perspective, why is it important for ABmunis to be here in Ottawa at the FCM?
I think just having a presence here with our members. I know over the last 8 years or 10 years that I've been coming to FCM, Alberta has always had probably the largest contingency of people that come to this conference across the country. And so I think it's important to know that our members feel supported here as well. Alberta Munis had a booth set up here, doing some networking and making sure that our members feel like they're supported, even when they're not in Alberta. So while that's really good, it comes down to the networking again. We hear and talk to our members a lot, but sometimes hearing and maybe sharing some of the best practices with other members of councils from across the country helps you understand that maybe what you've got going on isn't the worst thing in the world because you're not the only one, or you learn some of the new best practices or different best practices that you might be able to take home to your communities or to your province.
Are you finding those similarities unique, like homelessness, encampments, mental health and addiction, bail reform, or are you finding more granular individual unique issues?
No, I think you could go top 5 and say lack of housing, homelessness, mental health addictions, healthcare, transportation, all of the things that we're dealing with across the country is very much what we're dealing with in Alberta. So to be able to hear what they're working on or maybe trying some newer innovative ways on how having to deal with it works well for us, and it gives us some stuff to take back to our members.
Alberta Municipalities, and I say that across the province of Alberta, is usually one of the top delegate people attendees here at FCM. What does that say to you as president that municipal leaders want to be part of this conversation at that federal level?
It's fantastic, and it shows the testament of how much work our members, our councillors, our administration is doing and trying to work on being better for their communities too. Coming across the country when it was in Halifax or Fredericton, and now we're in Ottawa.
Calgary
last year, but we get the opportunity to have it in Edmonton next year. So
a lot easier for us to get back and forth to our houses.
It is, but it's fantastic to be able to network with people from across the country. Because across the country we're dealing with those same issues, and so sometimes it's just to commiserate and make sure you feel like you're not alone.
Is it just that, though, or do you try to find solutions here as well? Because when I speak to delegates, it's what's the best practice? Mm-hmm. What are you doing in your community that might work well in, say, Leduc or in Rocky Mountain House? What is it about finding the solution part of the equation that is beneficial to do this in person rather than virtually?
Yeah, and that's the important part too, right? You can learn from somebody else's mistakes so that you aren't going through the same thing. I've handed out my card a number of times for people who are asking how Wetaskiwin is dealing with homelessness, or what is Alberta Municipalities doing to support their members. I constantly get feedback that our conference, our convention is fantastic. It's amazing. And do I get a chance to go to other provincial conferences and conventions? And I do, luckily. And so it's great to see what other associations are doing and to be able to take back some of the good things that are happening across the country.
We are living in, we're not living, but we're at the convention where bail reform, crime, mental health and addiction is taking front and center. I want to specifically talk about the bail reform piece because I've spoken to many of your members and that is a big concern for them. Are you happy that this is finally being talked about in an open setting? Because in Calgary, it wasn't really discussed that much. And here in Ottawa, it seems to be the hot topic. The Prime Minister came in yesterday and gave his address to the delegates, and he did talk about housing, bail reform, resources to market. Are you optimistic that the issues that your members are talking about are finally being addressed at the national stage?
I sure hope so. That's one of the things with prolific offenders. I understand that it's not a crime to be poor, but at the same time, communities shouldn't have to live in fear or not being comfortable in their own homes because we do have a problem with homelessness, mental health, addictions, and the crime that goes along with that too. So would love to see what that's going to look like because we definitely need some changes happening there too. The revolving door isn't working.
The federal government has changed. Well, the party hasn't changed, but the guy at the top has changed. He spoke at the conference day one. What do you hope the relationship between the federal government and Alberta municipalities will be like heading forward?
I think a lot of that work is going to come through FCM. And so as a president of Alberta Municipalities, I also sit on the FCM board. So being able to take our concerns from Alberta and have it on the national stage is going to be beneficial. I think we're going to have the opportunity to utilize that position to have more contact with the federal government. And while we have different municipal, provincial issues going on in Alberta, a lot of what the federal government does has an impact on what we receive in Alberta, not just Wetaskiwin. And I think it's really important that we have that opportunity to have the conversations with the federal government.
So what's next? You go back to Alberta in a few days, and what do you take back from FCM to ensure that the conversations, the advocacy work, the networking doesn't end once you step on the plane to go back to Wetaskiwin?
Getting back and meeting with my board, letting them know what I learned here, and I do the same thing for my city.
Your board's here from gather. There's a few of them.
Yeah, for sure. Which is again showing the importance of being able to come to these conferences outside of our province. But it's our work. It's understanding what's going on across the country. And when we do we'll have our fall convention coming up. We've got 4 dates for our summer Municipal Leaders Caucus coming up. We're going to be able to share some of what we've learned and the experiences that we've had here with our members, and maybe have some answers for them when they come to us and say that they're having trouble with something going on in their community.
This next question might be a little timestamp by the time this goes to air, but northern Manitoba, northern Saskatchewan, and even central Alberta, some communities have been evacuated. Swan Hills, particularly in Alberta. As Alberta Municipality President, you're seeing this unfold. Are you in contact with the Mayor of Swan Hills to ensure everyone's safe, that everyone is out, that any help that Alberta municipalities can rely or give to the people of Swan Hills or the people that are being evacuated is there?
Yeah. So I know Trina Jones has reached out to Swan Hills, and regularly our board members are reaching out to the towns, the villages, and the cities that are affected with some of the natural disasters that have been going on over the last couple of years. So it is important for them to know that Alberta Municipalities has their back, and if there are things that we're able to do to help them, we're ready and willing, always willing to help out where we can. I've seen some other posts from neighboring municipalities saying what's available for those residents to bring trailers, what's available in their community for resources. And so people are just coming together, and it happens so naturally. It's unfortunate that we've had so many fires, so many reasons to be evacuated over the last few years, but you're really seeing a province come together and making sure that they're helping their neighboring communities with whatever they can. And that's what we're seeing as well.
Final question on this, and that is, what is the benefit of Alberta Municipalities' participation at FCM that you couldn't do on your own?
I think access to the federal government, the relationships that have been built through FCM, their administration, previous board members, all of that stuff gets passed along. We do advocacy days here in December, so we come and meet with a bunch of the MPs, different ministers, hearing the party leaders here, the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, our Deputy Leader, Melissa Landsman, being able to come in here, have the opportunity to talk to them and hear what their priorities are, I think is important, because again, just because we're dealing with the municipal and provincial issues in Alberta doesn't mean that there is no federal impact when legislation is changed.
I'm going to pause there for a second. Mayor Gandam, thanks for chatting with me. For a quick question, I know that you, as part of Alberta Municipalities, but also as the City Mayor's Caucus in Alberta, just recently met with the new Minister of Municipal Affairs, Dan Williams. What was that meeting like?
It was good. We actually had Premier Danielle Smith attend virtually, a couple other MLAs.
Former McIver minister as well.
Minister McIver stopped by to say thanks. He said he still had it. Still had it in his calendar, so he made sure on his way home from Edmonton he stopped by and said hi. Got a standing ovation. We thanked him for all of his hard work that he had done for us, and we made ourselves available through Mid-City Mayors to Minister Williams, in that when he needs a resource or he needs somebody to reach out and talk to about maybe what might work, what might not work, is equally as important as having a strong relationship. So the fact that he took the time to come there and spend the afternoon with our caucus was fantastic.
Did you get a commitment to have a meeting?
He actually committed to having time for everybody. So yeah, understanding that they're done now for, well, potentially done now. We'll be we'll be reaching out to his office and setting up that meeting. I'm looking forward to having a very similar relationship as I did with Minister McIver. Again, we don't always have to agree, but I do appreciate the fact that he always had time for me. From what I'm hearing from Minister Williams is he's offering the same thing. He offered a room of 24 mayors and a bunch of administrators saying whoever wants my phone number can have my phone number. So I think he's going to be very accessible, and I think he'll be a good fit for municipalities and the members of council who will be serving with him.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.